Hi Aries, welcome to the Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. Today we're going to look at February, general February reading for you guys. You can use this for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or any other placement that calls your name, I guess. And we'll just go ahead and get started. So I did a Celtic cross spread for you guys with the Albano weight deck. I pulled Threads of Fate Oracle card to get a major theme, and a lot of Pentacles. So finances look like they might be pretty good, or at least that's just that's your focus this month. But we will get into this and we'll see what unfolds. Starting with the Oracle, I pulled self-love, pretty self-explanatory. Okay, now as I'm looking at all these pentacles, and there are really a lot of pentacles here, it can mean money and physical material things, but it can also mean self-worth. And so as I'm looking at the self-love card, I think that this month is actually a great opportunity to get in touch with your inner sense of self-worth, what it looks like, where your hang-ups or limiting beliefs or wounds are, and then kind of using that work to then reprioritize what you want to manifest, or what you want to bring to you, or what you want to put out into the world this month. Because I think this is kind of both. We have the Two of Pentacles, which does imply balance. I think it's kind of both here. Like, you're looking at your external financial situation, and if finances aren't a hit for you, maybe it's just career or other kind of practically minded things. You're doing something really hard and concrete here. You're really in this plane of reality, in this dimension, making things happen. So I love that for you. And but it's all going to come out of this sense of improving your sense of self-love, self-worth, self-value, things like that. Centering there, and then using that as kind of the ripple effect that will come outwards and create change or growth in your life. So that's kind of what we're looking at for a theme. Really, really nice. I've never seen so many pentacles in one spread, at least in my spreads. So this is really interesting. Starting place this month, going into the Celtic cross, we have the Eight of Pentacles, one of my favorite cards. This is basically the apprenticeship card. And so what this means is you're studying something. And so maybe a lot of you are students in some capacity. Maybe you're not in school, although you could be. This could be like going to grad school too. Or you're just choosing a line of study. Maybe you are choosing a mentor. I really like how practical this is, because it looks like whatever it is that you're doing here is like very kind of tangible. Like, you're learning some sort of craft or skill that will serve you in a very real way. And yeah, it looks good. And I think, most of you aren't starting from scratch. This is just you refining skills you already have for the most part. I mean, some of you may be onto something new, but I know that you've done a lot of initiatory and kind of launches recently, and I know that a lot of you have been in the planning stages way before that, so I think that this can support that, whatever it is that you guys have been focused on the last few months. Because I know we were really in a fiery energy with you guys the last few months, and now as I'm seeing all these pentacles, it's like I'm seeing this shift here, where it's like all that passion, action, initiatory steps that you've already taken are now going to be grounded and take root in a foundational way that creates more long-lasting change and sustainment. And so this is the work. I mean, February, there's work to do. You're Aries, you don't shy away from work. You're really going to want to stay practical here, but you're not going to want to sacrifice your needs for what is practical or efficient either. So that's the balance. And that brings us into the Two of Pentacles, which did fly out in the reverse, but this is your main challenge card anyway, so I tend to read those that way regardless. So you're going to have to work to find balance this month between your personal needs and the things that you're trying to accomplish. And I think that they can feed each other, and that's just the challenge here, is making sure that you're finding that balance so it's symbiotic rather than creating a polarity or an extreme, right? Which is practical too, just keeping things center field. I feel like many of you are resistant to one or the other. I think some of you may have a fear of taking action um, towards these things because you're cardinal, you know, and so there's this sense of like it's really easy for you guys to try to get things off the ground, but once you need to ground those things, that's when the challenge tends to come in. I think maybe you guys get bored or impatient sometimes, and I'm not trying to make a comment on that. I'm just trying to bring light to the fact that if you really want to, create whatever it is that you're creating, you're gonna have to do, the boring bits too, and work with the limitations of this current reality. And a lot of working with the limitations means giving yourself time and patience, and then consistently showing up and doing the work. After things wear off and get less exciting because they're not as new anymore, because this feels like the things that you've been doing and launching and initiating, this is becoming real for you now. And so it's kind of a reality check moment, because it's like, oh, is this the path I want to go down? Is this really what I want? And am I willing to put in the work to get there? The unsexy work, but the work that actually makes things happen. So that's some of you. The others of you, you may just be workhorses. And so the challenge here is making sure that you do pull back and take care of your body's needs. Because, I mean, I think kind of either way, whichever way you stand on this spectrum, it is ultimately a self-worth issue, because if it's nose to the grindstone all the time, there tends to be a not enough story, like I'm not doing enough or I'm not good enough, so I just need to stay focused and keep doing this, at the expense of my body or my emotional needs, etc. And then the other half of that is kind of an inability to take action and to do the sustaining work, even though it's less exciting, is honestly kind of the same thing, where the story is kind of like, oh, I'm not good enough to do this, or fear of failure, fear that it's not going to work. So I think that may be the main struggle, and that's why the self-love oracle card is key, because if you can really focus on getting into a good place in terms of your self-esteem, your value, your worth, that is going to create the container that you need to actually be able to do what you need to do, and pull back and be patient when you need to be patient. So that's the balance here. You're gonna be busy, and you need to prevent yourself from being too busy. Okay. Balance. Main area of growth here. Past affecting the present. 3 of Pentacles. I mean, many of you guys were here recently, and so if this isn't deep past for you, this is you collaborating with others to get something off the ground. I know many of you are in leadership positions, but I see here also with the 8 of Pentacles that you may be recognizing your limitations within that leadership position. Not to say that you're not good at being a leader, but part of being a good leader is recognizing that you never stop being a student. You never stop being a student, and for those that have skills or support that they can offer, or knowledge that they can bestow onto you, it's only going to improve everything else that you're doing. And so, that's a bit of an adjustment too, and the 2 of Pentacles can suggest just making adjustments. I think one of those adjustments are, if you were in a place where you were basically the leader or the head of some sort of project, it's not like that project has ended, you're still the leader, but you may land yourself in a different position now where there's somebody above you, if we're talking career, and if we're not, teacher becomes the student, because you need to level up in some way. And so it's just giving somebody else that authority to do that. It's going to be very supportive for you. And that's a lesson too. You've gone through a lot of leadership lessons, like how to be a good leader. And I think this is just the next step into that. That teaching of how to be a good leader includes how to be a good student, how to be receptive to teachings from others. Because I know we had a theme recently also about being egalitarian in your dealings with other people. Like if you're working on some sort of project and there are people under you, listening to their ideas and creativity and personal strengths, and leaning into those and having a conversation. stepping away from needing to control everything and kind of allowing people to collaborate and work together, even with you as the overseer, right? And so now it seems like many of you have kind of mastered that, and now we're coming into this place where you're a student again in some capacity. And so this Three of Pentacles is a skill you can lean on, because all of that collaboration, diplomatic kind of energy that you have been learning recently is going to continue to serve you. And this is just saying there's an added dimension to that, okay? Really supportive. Really supportive. This is just saying the skills that you learned in the recent past is going to help your present. So it's really showing you that there's a path here. And there has been for you guys for a while. It's been really nice to see. There's been a lot of movement with you guys. There's been a lot of positivity. There's been a lot of growth, and it's been really awesome. In your foundation, we have the Queen of Wands reversed. I think Capricorn had this as well. So if you have Capricorn in your chart, yeah, I'm just getting the reaffirmation that this is a time to be more receptive than directive. I think whatever it is that you're working on, that you've been building the past few months, I've over the course of these readings seen it go from planning stages to delay to initiation to all of these things, and it looks like you're up and running now. And so the deal here is that now that you're up and running, you need to be receptive to what is happening so that you can adjust as you go and learn as you go. This is not about being perfect. This is about allowing the doing itself and the unfolding of whatever it is that is happening to reflect back to you and teach you what you can improve on, how to refine, how to make this better and better as you go. And that's the practice, right? I mean, nothing's like ever perfect. There's always adjustments to be made, and that's just because energy flows, and if it doesn't, you're stuck. And so you want it to flow, you want to make adjustments, you want to shift. That means that you are doing the work. And so if triggers come up around the fact that you need to make adjustments, or that it might not be perfect right off the bat, that's another avenue into leaning into the self-love energy, because what that comes out of, this desire for it to be perfect now or rigid or whatever, is just another way that you're telling yourself you're not good enough. And perfection doesn't exist, at least the way that we perceive it. I think perfection is really not a destination, it's just a way of being. And I think that way of being is just about working with what is, working with limitations, relying on your strengths, allowing everything to kind of grow and come out of that, be messy at points. I think the quote-unquote perfection to hang on to is just the perfection of being in the flow. And being in the flow it requires flexibility, right? And requires that you are able to acknowledge what isn't working so that you can fix it. And you can't do that if you shame yourself for what isn't working, you know what I mean? So that's just something to keep an eye on. And so this Queen of Wands reverse is just asking you to be receptive to what is going on, to the other people in your life that may have gifts for you in the form of like advice, information, knowledge, support, and just the results of what you're doing itself as those results start to come in. And you will see results because of all these pentacles. Like, you're going to see reflected in the physical material reality all the work that you've been doing this month. So in that reflection, you can see what you need to do next, what needs adjustments, and how you can continue to grow. So be open this month. Be open, be adaptable. With a lot of pentacles can come a need for a lot of structure. And again, that's kind of that's the trick with this Two of Pentacles here, is what needs to be structured and what needs to have flow. And I'm just picking up on something really really Taoistic here about in martial arts practice, in Tai Chi practice, I don't do yoga, but I would assume it may be similar at certain points. There's a serious emphasis on leg strength because that's your root. And so from a Tai Chi perspective, basically what you need is both. You need basically about half rigid structured foundation and about half flow. And we train that in our bodies in a Tai Chi practice by being able to just hold the muscle strength in the legs. Just all the support of standing up comes from the legs. Like none of the rest of the body does any of the work to stand up. It is all legs. They take the entire weight, and most people tend to not. If you don't do that kind of work regularly, other aspects of your body are we carry things in our shoulders, all that kind of stuff. And that's basically putting order or rigidity or structure in places that aren't supposed to have them. And so I think the importance of the balance here is figuring out what your ideal mode of operation would look like if you have the proper balance structure in place and then are able to flow through the rest. And this is a really abstract concept, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I'm sure it will resonate with some of you. And so holding that structure in the legs, in the body, right, frees up the entire rest of the body, the entire upper body from waist up, to be completely relaxed because it's not holding any of the weight in order to stand upright. And so from that's where flow starts to happen because, everything's being generated in the belly, basically, which is like the seat of everything within you. That's where everything generates out of, ideally. That's where you store your life force energy. And so whatever is being initiated in that life force energy deep in your navel, basically, is coming out and flowing through your upper body, and your upper body, because it's so relaxed, is just responding. And so because your foundation is already built, you don't have to worry about being grounded. And from there, you can just respond to the moment through the flow of the rest of your body. I hope that makes sense to some of you, at least. And so my point here is that's what you need to do in your life. Maybe it's for yourself. Maybe this is all just yourself, your self-love, but I think because of these pentacles, you are doing something. And because you're Aries, you're doing something, Make sure that you have a really, really firm, grounded foundation in something. Make sure that you can rely on it. Make sure it can just stay that foundation no matter what, so that the rest of you can respond and flow, can be receptive to the moment in the way that it needs to. And this is how you can continue to make things happen, but then also respond to the moment in a way that just makes everything easier, because it opens up these avenues or these windows of opportunity that you wouldn't otherwise see. Because if you're trying to go so hard in this really rigid, structured, straight line, you're basically creating a brick wall. Like, it's not actually doing anything. The beauty of flow, and being able to respond to the moment in the present moment is, it becomes a conversation with the universe. It's like, okay, what do I need to do next? And then because you're open to receiving the answer to that, the opportunity comes in and you're able to kind of maneuver with it and navigate it, because, we don't have total control over what happens. Like, yes, on a manifestation level, the intentions we set and send to the universe are what we receive back, but we don't control the middle. We don't control what that looks like, and we don't control the timing. What we can control is honing our intuition so that when the synchronicities, the signs, the impulses come in that say this is the way to go to get to the place that you need to get to, you see it for what it is and you just go, right? And so it's that ability to trust what is coming, to let go of control of everything around you, and to center that control inside yourself. And so what you're controlling is your response to everything. Yeah, okay, that was a really long-winded explanation, but it felt important. Crowning you, we have the Page of Pentacles reversed. So what I'm receiving is that any delays that happen this month are a blessing, and it's important to remember that. If delays happen, It's not because you failed. It's not because it's not going to happen. Really don't try to rush it, etc. Because there is a reason why it is being delayed. And that may be because a better opportunity comes around. If you're looking for a new employee or something, it's like, oh, there's somebody better. And I'm sorry, if you're looking for an employee and you get like the semi-green light for them, or you get a not yet, or you just straight up get a no from whoever it was that you were looking to hire, this is saying somebody else is going to come in, you just need to wait. And that goes for any other thing happening in your life that applies to you, whether it's like you're looking for a partner collaboration and there's some sort of delay, or you're trying to just initiate some sort of new phase of whatever it is, whatever project it is that you're doing, and there's some sort of delay. It looks like there's going to be a delay of resources of some sort. So like if you're in a situation where you're trying to get grant money, maybe the grant money is delayed, and that could be because you can actually get more money from a different grant writer or something like that. The delay is happening because there's something better that the universe is trying to get you to open up to. So just keep that in mind. Remember that it's a blessing. Okay. New circumstance. Ace of Swords reversed and the Four of Pentacles direct. Let's start with the Ace of Swords. The universe is really trying to get you to expand your mindset this month, because I think there may just be a tendency to look at what's right in front of you and create big universal truths out of it. So like if something's really working right in that moment, or you're just having a moment where you're emotionally really, really high, there may be a tendency to just think in that moment, oh, everything's gonna be like that forever. Like this is the way it's gonna be. Or if you're in a really low point emotionally, or because something happens or whatever, it's kind of gonna be the same thing. Like, oh, it's always gonna be like this. I have failed. It's never gonna get any better kind of thing. So watch out for that kind of extreme way of thinking, because I don't think it's serving you at all. And the Ace of Swords is basically saying, stop. Don't do that to yourself. From moment to moment, things change, Every moment's a different reconfiguration of reality. Every breath is a different reconfiguration of reality. Nothing stays the same. That's the one thing we can probably count on, right? Is that energy flows, things shift. And so try not to take those extreme emotions at face value if they come up, or just like thought patterns, or using what's happening in the moment as evidence for something in the future, because you don't know. There's so many unknowns, and part of being in that flow is just being in that uncertainty and being able to ground yourself anyway, being able to be in your body in the present moment, connected with the earth. I just think that a little more stability might serve you this month, and the Pentacles do support stability in general. But I think because there's a mixed bag of Pentacles here, like 3 of Pentacles and 8 of Pentacles are really solid cards. Some of these other ones can imply a little bit of instability, especially in the reverse or whatever. And so that's why I'm really seeing this 2 of Pentacles energy being front and center at play here, because while you're experimenting with what your proper balance in your life is, this 2 of Pentacles is the key. And that's no, I lost my thought. It'll come back if it needs to. So this Ace of Swords is encouraging a new mindset, and that new mindset is just allowing things to be what they are, allowing things to grow and change, not using each moment as this big, vast, this is how it's always going to be kind of energy, and instead just be present. Don't jump to any conclusions. Continue to set your intentions, ask for what you want, respond to the moment, and just trust that everything is going to be what it is, basically, because that's what everything is. Things just are. We place certain value or purpose or intent or desire on certain things, but ultimately things just are. And so there's a really grounding lesson here of just being with the earth and just being a person in this time, doing your day, and that will anchor you, okay? And so I think that will help with the mindset shift that needs to happen. I'm gonna keep you from going to extremes. Like, instead of, oh, things are this way, you can just come back to things just are. Things just are, and here I am, right? Really strong, powerful teaching. uh, very key, I think, and very foundational, and that's what we're working on, right? Is foundation. So Four of Pentacles, another foundational card. Fours are always foundation. I feel a bit of fear here from you. And it feels like, it just feels like you're clinging to something. And I tend to read this as clinging onto finances, but that's not actually what I'm getting. I mean, it may be, you may just be afraid of finances and hoping you'll have enough, and that'll kind of go, that'll plug back into your not enough stories as well. But I think this is more about some sort of, especially because it's paired with the Ace of Swords, I think this is more about some sort of attachment to an idea, like some sort of attachment to an identity, maybe. Not even that, I don't think, though. It's some sort of attachment to a belief. Yeah, it's a belief. Some sort of belief that you're really clinging on to that is really not serving you anymore. And that's what this Ace of Swords is bringing to light, is that this is the mindset shift that needs to happen. Whatever this belief is that you're really attached to that isn't serving you, you need to flip it on its head. And I think that's gonna, oh yeah, I can feel an avenue opening the second that shift occurs. And it feels really expansive and directional at the same time. It's like, I think what's gonna happen when you really let go of your attachment to this belief and rewrite the belief, maybe, probably. I feel an expansion outward, like your whole field is expanding and opening up, but I also feel heart moving forward. So I think this will open a pathway to your destiny or your desire in a cleaner way. And I think any confusion you have this month will be cleared up, because I think this is really just throwing a wrench in your gears here. But because you're so attached to what this belief is, that's going to be the trick. It may be kind of sneaky because you may not know what it is until you do some digging. And I think that digging is going to involve leading into this energy, the self-love energy, giving yourself some time to reflect. Maybe it will become clear to you then. This is keeping you from being on the ground. And if you're not on the ground, you can't actually manifest anything. You can't make anything happen because you're not here. Does that make sense? Like if you're in another plane, like if you're in your emotions in an ungrounded way, or you're just in your thoughts, or you're in the spirit realm if you do spirit work, or if you just tend to be ethereally inclined, it's like nothing can actually take root because you're not here. And so this belief is really preventing you from being in your body, and that's what's preventing you from creating any sustaining change in your physical material life. So that's really huge. That's a lot that I just said. If you need to schedule a reading with me, please do so. It's in the box below. I think it will be helpful. I feel like I'm speaking to somebody in particular as well, but I don't know who. So your ego this month. We have the Seven of Pentacles reversed and the Page of Wands. I'm going to start with the Page of Wands. It's an Aries energy. It's a fire energy. And it's about taking, action steps towards your goal. And so, this is what you're wanting to do. And you're in the right frame to do it. Like I feel like you really are willing to put in the work and to take the steps you need to take. The reminder here is just that you're still pretty early on in this journey. So if results are delayed, it's not because you failed. It's just because that's how things always start. They build momentum over time as you gain more clout or whatever and more skill, but you just need to allow things to grow. If you're in the phase where, the flower's sprouting and it's not a flower yet, you just have to wait for it to become a flower, and water it. So that's where you're at. And Seven of Pentacles reversed. I like this for you. It seems like you are very aware of what needs to be weeded out, or if you're not, you're aware that you do need to weed some things out, and you're willing to do that. And so even if this Four of Pentacles energy, the whatever belief you're attached to, even if it seems to not be clear to you at the moment, or it comes out of left field, or it's a little shocking to realize that this is holding you back, I I think you're in a position to deal with it. Like, I think that once you recognize what it is and you process it in the moment, there's going to be a pretty easy shift where you go, okay, now what do I need to do to get rid of this belief, to shift it, to move the new way of being into my life, and to move forward. So you're ready to let go of what doesn't serve you, and that's great. Environmental energy, we have the Hermit. Maybe a lot of the work that you do this month is personal. I know some of you guys are managing a team, maybe you're hitting a slower month, or maybe this apprenticeship is like a more one-on-one thing, and so everything else is slowed down or taken a pause, or there's just something that needs to happen before you move forward. Because I feel like February, the universe is really trying to get you to focus on your process, and I think that's because you can't move forward until you take care of some of this self-love, self-worth, self-value based stuff. I really feel a parallel to Capricorn's reading here. Nothing can move forward really until you clear out the energy that's keeping you from that success. So, and it's self-love, self-worth based. And so I think you do have some really deep realizations this month. I think they will propel you forward. I think they will level you up in consciousness, because I think you're just going to be more grounded, more stable, more discerning, wiser, less impulsive, more able to make long-term decisions, and be equally grounded and responsive. And so that's the potential here. And environmentally, that's just what's being curated for you. Like, you're going to be put into positions where you're forced to be alone and dealing with your own stuff, and that's where the most change will be made. In the position of what you fear and hope for, King of Wands. I mean, this is who you are. This is Aries, right? And I think there's just this desire to be who you are, to be authentic in your expression in the world, and through that authenticity to create your path in the world in whatever way that you do that, whatever work you do, however you want to express yourself, however you want to interact and engage with the world around you. This is just that desire to be able to live in a world where you can just be who you are. You don't have to repress yourself or suppress yourself, or dim your light to survive. And keep in mind that kind of desire usually comes out of trauma. And I mean, we all have varying levels of trauma. That's just where we are as a collective. And so, as you're examining this, what is in the way of your self-love? What is in the way of you feeling safe to be authentic in the world? Like, in terms of your interaction with the world around you, who in you feels a red flag whenever you're about to really be expressive or authentic? Or who in you feels like has a belief? Who in you has a belief that you just can't be who you are in this world? Who feels disconnected from the world? And who feels like they don't have a place in it? Because somebody in you does. Some wounded child is really holding this belief that you're separate from the world. And I think that is what is preventing you from seeing results of the work that you have done manifested in your life. That is really deep. That is really deep thing, a really deep thing that I just said. Yeah, again, please, schedule something with me if you need support, okay? Outcome. 3 of Swords. Yeah, I mean, this is getting you to address some sort of hurt that you haven't addressed yet, and I think it's just because it hasn't been time. Back to, timing and being in flow and responding to the moment. This is the time now to address some sort of wound, and it feels deep, feels like a deep wound that is preventing you from manifesting the desired results that you're working towards. And again, it's not like I'm seeing a roadblock, like things are happening, things are moving forward. but it does feel like there's just a delay, like there's this halt. It's the Page of Pentacles reverse. It's like the opportunities are coming but not yet thing. It's because of this. It's because this is in the way, this energy, and this energy is wounding. It's pain, and it does feel deep. It feels like childhood level deep. And I think it does have something to do with feeling isolated or separated from people or the world around you. And that plugs right back into self-love, self-acceptance, self-worth. You know, feeling like you don't belong is feeling like you're unworthy. And if you feel unworthy, you can't manifest things that you find worth in because you don't feel worthy of them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a really common money block is feeling like you're not worth receiving money. And so, and that's an oversimplification in a society that is oppressive towards certain groups of people. That being said, I think this is bigger than money. I think this is about your feeling of belonging in this world, with this earth, with the people around you, with the world around you. This is about healing that person inside you that does not feel like they deserve to be here. And that is huge. That's huge. I mean, that's all I have to say. Again, remember that you are worthy. You are deserving of every desire. You are worthy of love. You're worthy of a good, stable, healthy life. You're worthy of bringing your ambitions into the world and seeing the results of that reflected back to you. You're worthy of all of it. And you just need to do the inner work so that all of you believes that. I mean, of course, probably consciously most of you believe that. It's just the unconscious parts. It's the parts that have been hidden from you because they've been hurt. The path forward is finding out what they need and giving it to them. Okay, so if you like this video, please hit like. It helps out the channel. Subscribe if you want to see the next Aries video. Schedule something with me in the box below if you would like more insight into your situation. And I will see you guys in March. Love you.